All right, good day, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. Well, today we are going to be doing our cases. All right. So I did speak about it yesterday. I did speak about how we will be doing cases today, and for that particular reason, I would like to mention that there are 6 cases. If you don't already know, there are 6 cases, of which we will be doing 3 today. Those 3 is your nominative case, right? Then you have your genitive case and your dative case. These 3 are like your main sentences, and your main cases that you will be using. I apologize for the glare around me. Yeah, it's just we're just gonna have to work with it. But yes, a lot of the time, especially at an A1 level, this these 3 cases is what we normally would use. So obviously, because it's more easier to understand, it's more easier to form these kind of sentences. So basically, cases are the way you would structure your sentences, with respect to, the word before the noun or something like that. There's something that will obviously affect the noun in that sentence. So let me just give you guys like a simple example of what I'm trying to talk about, right? So our first case is the nominative case. Imilnitelni Padesh, that is your nominative case, right? So our first sentence is a very simple, straightforward eta koshka. That means this is a cat, right? So bear in mind with this sentence, right, as simple as it is, the word koshka, right? Let me get my pen, my laser pen, right? This word here, koshka, is a cat, but a female cat. All right. Obviously, gender is of utmost importance in the Russian language. You'll see. I'll give you an example later on what I mean. Right. So, right. So, in this case here, right, what nominative, how I would want you to remember it is the nominative, normal way of speaking, right? So what I mean by this is that when we are talking about nominative, when I'm saying the word koshka, right, it is a cat, right? When I go into the dictionary and I am looking for the word cat, irregardless of female or feminine or whatever, well, there are only those two genders, right? For or neutral, but of which there isn't. This is not the one that I'll be talking about. Right? So koshka is a cat. So when I go to the dictionary and I'm looking for the word cat, I will find that word koshka as it is written here, right? 100% as it's written here, that is how I will write it down. So that is our nominative case. What you will realize is, no, how would you spot this? If this is a if this is nominative case, first look for the noun, find the noun, and sorry, yes, find that object, or the main object, which in this case is going to be our cat. Try and see if you can find that word in the dictionary as it is without any altercations. If you do find that word, then that means that it is nominative case. Your sentence is nominative case, right? So that is our first sentence. It's the koshka, and it is Emil, imenitelni padish. All right. Then um, our second case, right, will be our genitive case, right? So what can we see about our genitive case, right? So the first thing we spot about this genitive case is that our word here, our object, our subject in this case, um, is the cat, right? So, but now if we remember from earlier in like the previous one, nominative case, this is not spelled the same way. This reads koshki, right? So umenya net koshki. I have no cat, right? So how I would necessarily um, remember this is that obviously now not all the words is going to end with an e necessarily, right? A lot of the words, are going to be different, particularly because of the reason of their gender or their singularity. Is it a single? Is it pure? Is it plural? Is the word plural? Right? Those are factors that may affect the way that our word is written. Right? But this is a feminine word and a singular, and it's a singular, right? It's a cat, one cat, right? Um, so what we will realize is that every time we have a feminine word, right? Sabaka, sorry. Sabaka is a dog, right? And from that word, we can see that it is a feminine word, right? So now when I say menyanyet sabaki ki, it will still be correct, right? You have to look for those kind of loopholes and find exactly those examples that will be best fitting for those sentences, right? So I have no cat. In our genitive case, how I would put it is it shows an absence. How you would know that it is a genitive case. First of all, you look at your subject and you'll see that it does indeed not look like the dictionary word. So that is your first sign that whatever sentence I'm looking at, it is not nominative case, so it has to be genitive, or the next one that we'll be doing is dative, or the next three, but we'll talk about that tomorrow, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, first of all, roditelni padish, that is your genitive case, right? Your first sign that you will see is that koshka is written differently, right? It is written koshki, so that should be your first sign to say that it is not nominative case. Then you are going to look at what is it showing what is showing, like, because genitive case, right, is a sentence construction where it normally shows absence of something, right? So I have no cat means there's an absence of that cat, right? So in that case, right, we will definitely know that it is genitive case, and we will mark it as such, right? Obviously, it's very important that you learn the meanings of these words and the form, right? Particularly because now, if you do not know that this word here, or let's forget about this one, koshka, right? You might look at it very quickly and you might say, it's a cat, no problem. But this nyet here is very important. This nyet is what actually distinguishes this, and that last letter there at the end is what qualifies it to be genitive case. All right, so that is our Rodidielni Badesh, right? Genitive case. Our third and final for today is our dative case. Datielni Badesh, dative case. Right? So now I want you to look at this. Do you see how this is starting with U, right? And this is starting with ya. That is the first sign that you will never find ya in a genitive case, you will never find ya in your nominative case. So if you have ya, right? If you have ya at the beginning of a sentence, that is going to be your first sign. That is going to be your first sign that that is going to be your first sign that it's either dative or the other three, right? So that is our first thing that we're going to be looking at. So let me just read this sentence out for you. So ya da you kotu edu, right? Yedu. So what it's saying is I give the cat food. The interesting thing about the dative, what you can say, the interesting thing about the dative case is that you will normally have a direct object and an indirect object, right? So let me try and put this into simpler terms. Well, let me do this. Let me write. Okay, so this one here is going to be our direct, right? Our direct object. Interestingly enough, I'm just saying DO, that is your direct object, right? So I want you to look at this, and the Latin origin of dative is do. That way the word date, the datilni comes from, is actually from, I apologize, from from the Latin, or it comes from Latin, right? The word do. As you can see here, do, direct object, but I'm trying to make it all come together and make a little more sense, right? So do, dative case, right? That is our direct object, and this is our indirect object. I'll tell you why it's our indirect object. Obviously it doesn't mean anything. My I and my O, obviously it doesn't mean anything, right? I can't make a reference the way I did make reference here, but this is our indirect object, right? So the thing with dative is that it's to give, right? So the word do in Latin is to give, right? So you will look at it and you will see where there is some, in some certain way, somebody is giving something to someone, right? In a sentence where you might like something, right? It would be, if you're saying that you like something, right? It's not your choice. You are given. It's like it's given with your personality to like this certain something. The way you would put it in your sentence, that will actually, it should come out, if you are grammatically correct as a dative, the sentence should be a dative case, right? So I give the cat food, right? So the food is what is, which is our direct object. We have we have that food and we are giving it to the cat. So the cat is indirectly getting the food from us, right? Yeah, that's the best way that I can explain that, right? So yeah, let us just recap real quick, right? So the way to remember cases, the word cases is padesh, So we have Imenitelny Pradesh, we have Roditelny Pradesh, and we have Datilny Pradesh. That is our nominative, genitive, and dative case. Thank you so much for watching. We will finish up tomorrow, and from there I will let you know about the obviously the what will happen in the future. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Cheers.